on his way out the door, President Biden promulgated a rule that said even though we surveyed every square inch of the seabed in the Gulf and found all the shipwrecks, we want every oil and gas company who wants to drill a well in the Gulf to do it again. Well, that's just bone deep stupid. Why do you want to add anywhere from $20,000 to $1 million to a cost of a new well to do something you've already done? That increases the cost of the well, which increases the cost of the product, which increases the price of energy. And it's these kind of rules that explain why under President Biden the average electricity bill of the average American during the Biden administration went up 28%. And so I got rid of the rule, and I got a few Democratic votes, and it's going to be passed probably in the House this week, and then this president will sign it. And it'll just reduce the cost of drilling a well in the Gulf, and hopefully, ultimately, that sort of thing if we do it enough, will reduce the price of energy.
And it is so, again, the Biden administration absolutely acted like they were very concerned about what taxpayers were going through. But at the same time, whenever taxpayers talked about energy prices and prices, jumping up, prices spiking under the Biden administration, there's like, you should ignore your lying eyes. That you've got it much better than you think.
Yeah, I mean, Badnomics, people understood Badnomics. Badnomics was spending more to live worse. And President Biden, we know now, in retrospect, had neurodegenerative disease. He was not really in charge. We're not exactly sure who was, but we know this. The people that were making decisions are part of the loon wing of the Democratic Party. And they think that all fossil fuels are bad, that oil and gas, if you think we need oil and gas, you're not just in error, you're in sin. Mm-hmm. And they had this quest to make it as hard to produce fossil fuels as they possibly could, and to heavily subsidize things like wind energy and solar and those sorts of things. I'm not against alternative forms of energy. If they can be delivered efficiently and cheaply, I'm all for them. But you can't run the most powerful economy in all of human history on wind and solar and do it without fossil fuels. It just can't be done. Europe's finding that out right now.
And it, like you said, I don't think anybody is against alternative energy. What I know you and I and a lot of us, especially here in South Louisiana, what we're concerned about is an industry that is propped up almost solely by federal spending. And the government can't pick winners and losers, and yet they keep trying.
Well, again, you're absolutely right. And you had a bunch of people in charge who had more zeal than wisdom. They were whack jobs. They thought they were smarter and more virtuous than the American people, and they thought the American people, look, their attitude was American people should send us their money and their freedom, and we'll tell them how to live their lives. And one of the things they wanted to do was change the way we access energy, and they hated fossil fuels. Mm-hmm. And President Biden just let them do it. Either he didn't know what was going on, or he concurred, or he just was tuned out. And it was just so all the billions and billions, probably trillions, guys, that we spent on climate change. You know how much it lowered world temperatures or even reduced the increase in world temperatures? Zero. None. Zilch. Nada. So why did we spend the billions and trillions of dollars that could have gone to education or infrastructure or back into people's pockets? It's insanity. But when you're dealing with zealots, with people who are just convinced they're right and everyone else is wrong, and you give them power, it leads to what we saw. And there's a reason that Joe Biden's poll numbers were falling. I don't know, they're falling like John Goodman on a seesaw, like a fat cow on a seesaw. They just kept going lower and lower and lower and lower, and there's no way he was going to win the race. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going on now. A lot of these whack jobs, the moon wing of the Democratic Party, they're still in charge, and they're fighting back. That's their right as Americans, but that's what we're doing. We're having a debate in front of the country and the world about what kind of country we want to be and whether we're going to be governed by common sense or a bunch of I don't know, tofu-eating whack jobs.
So in governing with common sense, in Senator John Kennedy's America, what does governing with common sense look like?
It means, number one, understanding that we're dealing with scarce resources. These are tax dollars, man. They didn't just fall from heaven. We thank heaven for them, but they came out of people's pockets, and every penny the government takes is a penny that people can't spend on their own lives or in the private sector to create jobs. That's the starting principle, and it's important in terms of high prices. It's important in terms of getting roads built. It's important in terms of education. That's the starting principle. The other starting principle is there are two groups of people in Washington, D.C. There's one group, I'm a part of it. They think that the American people, they may not read Aristotle every day, but they're plenty smart and they're free, and they're within reason. They're entitled to make their own decisions about how to run their lives. And then there's a second group of people represented by the balloon wing of the Democratic Party. They think the American people are not capable of running their own lives, and that they, meaning the wokers, are smarter and virtuous than they are, and that they need to tell us what we can believe, what we can say, and how we can live our lives. I mean, that's how you end up, and when their side prevails, as it did under President Biden, that's how you end up with biological males and women's locker rooms and playing women's sports, and I could keep going.
Well, and I wish we could keep going. Unfortunately, Senator, we've run very long here, and I would love to keep you on for even a whole other hour. But
well, let's do it again, man.
Absolutely, let's do it again. Senator John Kennedy, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck in that chamber tonight when the president's addressing you and your colleagues across the aisle seem to be losing their minds.
I'll be there. Happy Mardi Gras, and maybe we can do it again. We'll take calls. I don't screen calls. People can call in and ask me anything they want to ask me or say anything they want to say. If they want to call me an ignorant slut, they can do it.
Maybe we can invite John Goodman. We get a seesaw set up.
Yeah, really.
All right, Senator John Kennedy.
I shouldn't have said that. Goodman's lost some weight.
A lot of weight, yeah.
He used to be a pretty big boy.
Yeah.
He's looking svelte now. Thanks, Senator.
Thanks, guys.